Y'all, I am so tired of bean soup discourse. I'm so tired of it. If you don't know what bean soup discourse is, I have a whole video on the subject on my YouTube. You can go watch it. I think it's like 6 or 7 minutes long. So in a conversation where I'm talking about strategic economic boycotts, how we, the American people, in the tens, hundreds of millions, we have the power to shut down this coup. We can use our dollars to have a massive cumulative impact. We know that blackouts, we know that withholding our pennies from the economy can be incredibly successful. Look at Target. They are really struggling right now. Look at Tesla stock plummeting. But every time I talk about this, or I talk about attending protests or any other form of us as people working to save our democracy and protect our liberty, I get bean soup comments from other liberal, progressive, leftist folks, everybody on our side who needs to be pushing back to save our democracy. Every time I talk about this, my comments are full of bean soup. Right, so we're talking about a sustained boycott, withholding our dollars from the economy, making sure that we are choosing intentionally to have an economic impact on those corporations that are controlled by the oligarchs that are oppressing us. We are using whatever tools we have at our disposal to push back against our oppressors. I got this comment, this is just not a privilege everyone has. Some people can only afford to get things closest to where they live or via delivery. Those places also take EBT in person and online. I personally won't be boycotting anywhere until I blah, 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 and then listed a bunch of excuses. I am not saying that you should not use your EBT or SNAP money, which good luck since it's decreasing from $2 and something to $1.60. Good luck feeding yourself at all. But nobody is saying that you should not be buying necessities that you need to keep yourself alive, that you should not be shopping at the only stores that are open to you that take EBT. That is not what this economic boycott is about. And this very black and white binary thinking, this all or nothing thinking, is an extreme problem of the left. It is one of our biggest ways that we are hamstringing ourselves. As a post-capitalist and anti-capitalist, one of the things I talk about incessantly is how we did not create the exploitive system that we are stuck in, and we still have to feed our families, house ourselves in the system that is hurting us. And so we are not able to ever perfectly achieve our ideals, and we are going to have to interface with a system that is harming us. That is inevitable. That is why they say there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. The thing is that we know that you don't have to do a boycott perfectly. Not everybody has to do 100%. In fact, one of the big themes on my YouTube channel for years and years and years has been this concept of good, better, best, right? The best is not always achievable. We cannot always engage with perfection. We cannot always live out our ideals perfectly. But that does not mean that if we do good or better, that we don't have the impact that we need, that we cannot get the results that we want. Engaging on a level of good or better when best is not possible is still worthwhile. Engaging in this kind of puritanical thinking, believing that it is all or nothing, that a binary exists, and that if you can't do it perfectly, you should just not bother, or that you presume that other people are saying that you must do it perfectly. And so you have to respond with here's my list of all the reasons that I can't do it perfectly, so I'm not going to bother. That is white supremacy talking. That is a mindset of white supremacy. That is Christo-fascist thinking. Again, I'm going to put on my mom voice. I keep doing that for this topic. I don't want to hear the reasons that you cannot engage, or playing this game of stop encouraging people to get involved, stop encouraging people to fight for their own liberty, because there's going to be 20 million qualifiers as to why a number of people cannot do it perfectly. I don't want to hear this anymore. What I want to hear is, I know it is impossible for us to do this perfectly. We still can do it effectively. So I'm going to be solution-minded now. I'm going to be thinking about the ways that I can engage instead of giving a laundry list of all the reasons that I can't do anything. Please be solution-minded. Please stop bean souping this conversation. Our liberty is on the line. Our democracy is on the line. It is worth fighting for. Take an assessment of what you can do, how you can get involved, what impact you can have. Because even if you're only able to give 10 or 15% as much as somebody who has more privilege than you and more ability to engage more fully, that doesn't mean that your contribution is not worthwhile. The cumulative impact of tens of millions of Americans is what matters. And so any engagement from you, any way that you can contribute is valuable. We know that not everybody has the same level of privilege. Leftist discourse gets hopelessly bogged down in this. We need 20,000 qualifiers and we want to not offend everybody. And in doing so, we grind ourselves to a halt and we come up with excuses as to why nothing can be done. I'm so tired of hearing that. It's not useful to the conversation. It's not useful to the preservation of our liberty. I just don't have any patience for some people don't have the privilege to engage perfectly, so I won't be boycotting anywhere. Please, I'm begging y'all, let's be solution minded. Hey, we need to do this thing. Here is what we have to do to save our democracy. Here is the sacrifice that is going to be required of us as the American people. How do we get there? This is a non-negotiable. So what steps do we need to take so that people can more readily access the pathway to achieving our goal? How do we work to remove barriers that are in place? All right, I've said many, many times that one of the biggest complaints or reasons people say they can't engage is because there is not sufficient childcare provided for a lot of the events that are happening now and need to happen in the future. Okay, well, in permaculture, we say the problem is the solution. So people are clearly saying, here's a problem. I cannot engage until I have childcare. Okay, well, then let's work for the solution. Let's establish childcare, not I don't have childcare, so that's it. I don't have to engage. I don't have to participate, or I am shut out of participating. Instead, cool, let's create childcare, right? Let's be solution minded. Let's tear down the barriers to engagement. And also let's encourage people to contribute however they are able, understanding that, of course, in American society, people have differing levels of privilege. That is understood. That's a given. That's not something that we need to bring up endlessly as a reason for why this won't work or why people can't engage at all. Yes, people have different levels of privilege. And that means that people are going to contribute differently and they're going to contribute different quantities and at a different pace. And that is okay. It's not, like a race to see who can do it the most perfectly for the longest. It's everybody giving what they can out of their capacity. I'm begging y'all, please think about this differently. We've got to reframe this situation and be solution minded.